It's no secret that Delta Force Hawk Ops is one chaotic game. Clearly taking a lot of inspiration from the likes of the Battlefield franchise, the game just sort of thrusts you into the chaos and says, off you go, good luck. And look, while just taking in that chaos and enjoying it can be neat at times, there's also ways that you can leverage that to your advantage and get a real leg up in your matches. That is what we're going to be talking about today. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're going to go over some tips and tricks that will help you take your Delta Force Hawk Ops game to the next level. So folks, as always with these kinds of videos, this isn't going to be a quote-unquote overnight fix, if you will. If you're still a little Timmy who's still just learning how to use their mouse properly, well, the only way to get a high KD from this point quickly is to buy one with mum's credit card. But as the kids say, that is cringe and we aren't going to do that. No, this video is all about giving you guys those tips and tricks to work on over time that when used in tandem will get you rolling on those nice kill streaks and back rages. All little techniques and considerations that all inform my gameplay personally, and I truly believe will help you all go to the next level as well. All of the gameplay you're seeing right now was recorded live while streaming over on Twitch, so if you're keen to come join our community over there, swing on by the first link in the description down below, twitch.tv/Kamikaze78, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel here as well for more Delta Force Hawk Ops content. I've got a lot of helpful stuff on the way. But okay, as far as these tips and tricks are concerned, there's one big one that I think we need to get out of the way here very quickly. Because I know that when I first jumped into Delta Force, especially after playing a lot of other semi-fast-paced first-person shooter games as of late, I quickly realized that I needed to adopt a mentality shift in how I approached the gameplay to be successful here. Delta Force is not a game that will reward you kindly for jumping and schmoving around corners and playing hyper-aggressively, at least not to the degree that other games, even like Battlefield 2042, will. No, instead, Delta Force is a long burn approach of a game. It very much demands deliberate, calculated movements between different positions of power, if you will, and abusing that spot for as long as you can without overstaying your welcome and, copping an RPG to the face. Now, that in of itself is a very tough balance to strike, don't get me wrong, but blindly rushing forward and hoping that you'll be quote-unquote covered by the shroud of chaos will see you punished fast in this game. Moving from cover to cover, assessing your way forward and the next position that you want to get to, and carving your way there with a nice lengthy couple of kills is really a big step to maximizing your kills in Delta Force. And once you get that right, you will already see a huge improvement in your gameplay. But further to that, while schmoving and playing hyper aggressively isn't overly rewarded in Delta Force, that doesn't mean that you need to limit yourself to banging your head against the brick wall on the front line. The maps in this game afford a whole lot of flanking opportunities, and with the general chaos of the gameplay in full force, it sometimes feels like you're playing against opponents that hold the situational awareness of a wet towel. That is something you should be 100% aiming to abuse whenever you can. Now, that's not to say that an opportunity will present itself all the time. Sometimes you do need to bang your head against the brick wall on the front line, and forcing a door open that isn't open to get a flank on will get you killed if you're being dumb about it. But by the same token, getting creative can and will print you kills in this game. Something that I do catch myself doing quite often in this game now is taking a quick stock take of the map in the respawn screen every time I'm about to respawn back in. Taking note of where my teammates are, where the gunfire is coming from, and what the hotspots are on the map currently, but most importantly, what gaps are in my team's map coverage already, and also where I can see some enemies running around. Yes, if you look hard enough, you can see that in the respawn screen from this view. So taking advantage of this info with some good map knowledge will put you on the path to some nutty flanks in really good defensible positions that you can just farm to your heart's desire. Now, in saying that, and on the same topic of pacing yourself more broadly here, when you do get yourself into a good spot in Delta Force here, it can be very easy to be lost in the sauce and just take on more bad guys than you can can chew. This game clumps targets up very quickly into multiple choke points and behind different sets of cover, which can make turning the brain off and holding left click a very, very attractive idea. Just let all the dopamine rush to your brain, which is all well and good until you run out of ammo and have pissed off the hornet's nest without any bug spray left. Isolating and finishing off your targets and giving yourself the time to reset between these fights will always be better than overextending and mag dumping into all the enemies without actually killing a dude, right? Every time you get yourself into one of these positions where you can just start farming an abundance of kills like mad, just be aware of your weapon's limitations and how to play into them a little bit. Always focus on, finishing off targets rather than damaging a large suite of them and not killing anyone in the process. Target prioritization is also a big part in this too. If you're engaging a group of players and someone is looking at you, well then obviously that guy should be priority number one. Duh, I know, right? But I see so many players get hyperfixated on their current target without giving any attention to the enemies that end up becoming the main threat mid-engagement. Shooting a dude whose back is turned to you while someone sizes you up is an express ticket to Jesus for yourself, which ain't what we're looking for here. Don't let a good position be thwarted by poor target prioritization on your behalf, and make sure that you're engaging the right opponent. And as a note to that, this is something that can actually be somewhat addressed by really taking stock of just how exposed you are at any given point in time. Now, this is a pretty common skill that you learn in FPS games across the board, but it's overly relevant in Delta Force in my opinion. With the amount of targets you may be working through at a time, sometimes just some thought about how many of those targets you are exposing yourself to at a time can go a long way to improving your kill streaks. For example, do you really need to swing around a corner that much to kill your target? Can you expose yourself to a dude that you're trying to kill without also getting in line of sight of his two friends? Using the game's lean function goes a very long way in helping you do this too, in minimizing how much of your, silhouette you're exposing to potential enemy fire. Again, this all seems like fairly obvious stuff, but man, the amount of people I see just swinging corners so widely and putting themselves in the crosshairs of half the enemy team in the process just means that this is worth the mention in today's video. Now, one thing I don't want to get into too much detail with in this video here, but I do plan on doing future content for, is weaponry. Obviously, the weaponry choices you make in Delta Force and the ways in which you mod your weapons is going to have a very big impact on how, effective you are on the battlefield. So yeah, in the future, I'm going to be doing some very in-depth guides for a whole lot of the weapons in this game and really just breaking down what attachments work best for them, so on and so forth. But with the existing maps in Delta Force's alpha test as it currently stands, they sport a lot of very open and very long-range sight lines here, which obviously means the best thing that you can do as a player with your arsenal is also predominantly build it for long-range combat. So things like weapon aim down sight stability as well as your overall control stat is a good indication as to how effective your weapon is going to be in those long-range fights, and modding / calibrating your weapon and its attachments to fit into that bill is going to go a long way in improving your overall effectiveness in the game as it currently stands. Of course, this may change as new maps are added to the game that sort of feature, more CQC orientated environments, but as it currently stands right now, the control stat and by certain virtue the stability stat are certainly some of the big ticket items that you want to be looking at improving through modifications on your weapons. If you're wondering why you're seeing a whole bunch of Twitch streamers and YouTubers running weapons that seem to have absolutely zero recoil, I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, we are just good at the game, but also these attachment builds go a long way in turning these weapons into absolute laser beams. But again, if you're keen for more weapon guide content in the near future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, because I cannot wait to get that out for you as well. But the last sort of tip I've got for today's video, guys, is again, one of the more obvious ones, but something that I see far too few people doing. Use your class's utilities, for God's sake. The amount of people that I catch running in the dead air open with zero smoke coverage to get them from point A to point B is absolutely gobsmacking, especially noting how many smoke utilities are forced onto the squads and forced onto the classes of this game. Use your damn smoke, cover your advances, and I promise you, by virtue, you'll do far better in the future. But folks, with all of that said, that wraps up a pretty meaty video going over some tips and tricks that can make you better at Delta Force Hawk Ops and improve those kill streaks that you can go on just that little bit more. If you guys enjoyed today's video, then a backhanding of the like button will go a long way to supporting the channel, and say you're new here and you enjoyed the content from today. Again, subscribing to the channel does go a long way, and it keeps you up to date with all of the Delta Force Hawk Ops content that we're going to be releasing very soon. I'm going to be doing doing a smattering of stuff, guys, and I hope you're along for the ride. But until next time, guys, I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, and I will see you guys then and there. Take care, guys. Have a good one.